Girls, what is the most obvious hint you dropped and the guy still didn't get it? So this was 2 weeks before me and my ex had started dating. He used to walk me home from school every day. I was only a 12-minute walk away from school, and he was a 20-minute drive away from the school. He still made sure to walk me home from school every day. Anyway, one day he walked me home and I went to open my garage and saw that no one was home yet. So I made the executive decision to invite this boy, who I had a raging crush on, inside my house with no one home for a house tour. He agreed, and we went inside. I showed him around the house, and the entire time we were flirting hard. I eventually brought him upstairs to my room. We hung out in there for a while, and we started talking about sex. We ended up making a deal that if we both hadn't lost our virginity by senior prom, we'd lose it to each other. Once again, we were in my house, with no one home, in my room, with my door closed. I'm pretty sure telling a kid you've made clear you're flirting with heavily that you would indeed bang him was a large sign. We ended up dating 2 weeks later. I was in 10th grade when this occurred. In my awkward sophomore mind, I viewed this as a pretty straightforward deal. I later talked to him about it about 2 weeks into the relationship, and we both had a laugh about it and our awkward inability to tell each other how we felt. Once again, I was 15 years old. I remember a story like this. My girlfriend and I are into theatre. She's a senior, and I graduated last year. My junior year, we did a play where she had to kiss someone she didn't really like. We were pretty good friends at that point, and I had a crush on her. She told me that she didn't want her first kiss to be with some random guy she didn't like, and she wanted her first kiss to be someone she trusted, like me. I was super pumped and jumped at the opportunity. We kissed in her car after the rehearsal. The next day, she texted me and told me that her parents were out of town. They were both nurses, pulling an overnight shift in a town around 20 miles away. She told me that she thought it wasn't a very good kiss and that it wouldn't be very believable on stage. So she invited me to her house to have kissing practice. I just assumed that she was really dead set on kissing the guy believably, and I should just enjoy it while it lasted. I showed up. She opened the door in like those Nike booty shorts and a tank top, and she was very obviously not wearing a bra. I just thought, it's her house. She probably just wants to be comfy. We sat on her bed and kissed fairly passionately for around 20 minutes. She seductively stretched out on her bed and invited me to stay for a movie. My response? Nah, sorry, I play Call of Duty with my friends on Thursday nights. We were playing the game Life, and he was the police officer. The rule is, if you spin a 10, he gets your speeding fines. I literally pulled open my button down and exposed my breasts and said, "What can I do to get out of paying this?" He said, "Ma'am, I am an officer of the law. Are you trying to prostitute yourself to me?" A couple days of flirting and sexual innuendos later, I literally had to spell out that I was trying to bang him. We've been together for 6 years now. Yo, that dude is serious about his role-playing. Sometimes I think with situations like this, the dude is just nervous and is subconsciously making up excuses not to go through with what they know it could lead to. There is no way, in this story, that she was not giving a hint, and I find it hilarious if he really had no freaking clue. I'm the guy in this situation, but I couldn't help not sharing this story. In college, this girl I really liked asked if I wanted to hang out at my dorm and drink and watch Netflix. She came over and we were watching and drinking on the couch in the living room, per my suggestion. Things were going good, and about an hour into it, she says, "Oh, let me see your room." So we go to my room. She takes her shoes and socks off and immediately sprawls herself out on my bed and says, "Oh my god, your bed is so comfortable." I responded with, "Dude, we live in the same building. It's the same bed as yours." She left about 10 minutes later. When my boyfriend and I had just started dating, we were laying down watching a movie, but this was a small bed and he was being respectful and giving me space. I kept wiggling backwards so I could get closer to him, and he kept inching backwards. Since he thought I was just trying to get comfortable and he was in the way, he ended up sitting in a chair next to the bed. 3 years later, we are still together, and I still think it's pretty funny. He told me that when he was in the chair, he purposefully left his hand next to me in case I wanted to hold it. But I guess I missed that sign too. He didn't get out of the bed because he was uncomfortable. He legit thought he was taking up too much space and didn't realize I was trying to cuddle. Guy here. I was invited back to study by one of the girls in my class at her apartment. We were about 30 minutes in, and she says she might take a shower. I'm like, okay, kinda random, but okay. Anyway, she starts telling me the door to the shower is broken, so she told me not to come in. She said it 3 or 4 more times. Again, I'm like, okay. Weird that she said that multiple times, but okay. 1 hour later, the shower was still running. I could hear her singing and humming away, so I knew she was okay and hadn't drowned. I was thinking, gee, that's a long freaking shower though. The water finally goes off and she comes out dressed and says, "You didn't come in." I was like, what the F? You literally told me not to come in. She sat back down, clearly distracted and not wanting to study. So we wrapped up after 5 minutes and she drove home. My mate asked me how the study session went about a week later. I hadn't even thought about it since it happened, but as I was explaining it to my friend, he told me I was a moron and just facepalmed. As I was saying it out loud, I realized the signs and felt like a big idiot. So I'm gonna answer in lieu of my late wife here. I am dumb, like really freaking dumb. She and I met and became friends very quickly, but I didn't know she apparently had a huge crush on me. I thought she was out of my league, and apparently she thought I was out of her league too, but she couldn't stop the feels. She rubbed her feet on me while we were talking. She asked me in detail about my package. She gave me her phone number with the line, "Hit me up if you want pizza and sex." We went out for lunch. She offered to blow me for a Dr. Pepper, and she was very insistent that we got Meat Lover's pizza when I asked her what she wanted for watching a movie later. After we watched the movie, she was in my bed. I figured she was just wanting to keep warm and cuddle, but she strutted into my bathroom, buck naked, and I had some double D's staring at me. She kissed me and told me, "I want you to bang me, you idiot." A regular romance story there. In my defense, she had a really warped sense of humor, and I thought she was kidding with all that stuff. It felt so natural with us being friends that the thought didn't even cross my mind until she propositioned me that there was potential for more. I'd had some really messed up exes, and I thought romance was something where I had to jump through hoops for the other person. But she was different. That's why she was the one who I got on one knee for. Advice to the ladies out there. If my wife telling me, "I want you to bang me," got through my legendarily thick skull, I think as a last resort, that phrase will work for anybody. When I was about 35 years old, I lived in a beach town near a university. My neighbors were all college kids. Next door was 2 college girls. One was always flirting with me. One hot summer day, she turned up at my door in nothing but a long t-shirt. She asked if she could hang out in the AC with me. I said, sure, and she came over to the sofa that I was sitting on and laid down with her back to my chest and asked if we could snuggle. I was okay with that. She then asked me to rub her belly, which I did. As you can imagine, after about an hour, I was getting a little worked up and touched her breast. She jumped up and stormed out. I was like, what the fuck? She later said she didn't see me like that. I asked her why she'd show up almost naked, lay between my legs like couples do, and ask me to rub her belly, and then get pissed when I try to escalate things. She said she looks at me like a big brother. I was like, what the F is your family like? And that is why so many guys in this thread didn't get the hints. Hints are not a universal thing. I am a guy, but I can share my density as the guy that missed the hints. I went to a store where there was a girl I liked in college. We used to small talk while I browsed and never bought anything, since I was a poor college student. This time I came in the store and she said, hey, and we chatted a bit while I shopped. She said, I'm going to be home alone tonight, my family is out of town. I replied, oh, that's too bad. She responded by saying, I'm off at 5 today. What are you up to tonight? I'm up for anything. I said, oh, nothing, just sitting at home and watching a movie. My brain must have completely self-destructed because the conversation ended there. I never saw her again after that. She either quit or was avoiding me. I must have been in a daze from school to miss that cue. We were discussing costumes, and I sent a picture of me in my bunny suit, and I told him I'd need help out of it. His response was telling me he hoped my roommate was home, or that would suck. I had to tell him I was implying I'd like him to take it off me, and it took him a minute to catch up. For those of you concerned, it was very much a suggestive picture. I'm not sure it could have been perceived as just friendly. I was very much ready to hit him with the bat of bluntness because we got along great, and he'd seemed flirty with me before. While we were on schoolies, the week-long celebration after finishing final high school exams, I ran into a girl that both me and two of my other friends had gone to primary school with. We were chatting a bit as a group heading down to the beach. Now, the first hint I missed was when one of her friends came over and said, "She wants you," with what I now know to be a suggestive voice. She says, "Oh my god, my underwear is really uncomfortable." To which I replied, "Is it normally?" She said no. I didn't know what else to say, so I just replied with, "I guess it's a manufacturing fault." We talked a bit longer and fell asleep after that. It wasn't until the next day that I realized my mistake while walking to get breakfast with my best friend. While recounting the story to my best friend, he screamed, "You freaking moron. She wanted you to take them off, you stupid idiot." He brings this story up every time I'm introduced to anyone new, and it's his favorite story. Dude, I'm totally convinced these signs are missed for one of two reasons. The first reason is that the dude is just nervous and doesn't know how to react to the situation, especially with the current atmosphere around sexual assault claims being extremely common. It's either that, or the dude is just straight oblivious. I think the former is much more common than the latter, unless the guy is a young teenager and doesn't have much experience yet. The best one hands down was the dude who turned down a night with his crush to go play Call of Duty with his friends. What the f*** were you thinking, dude?